Hi, friends. It's me, Christiana Gaudet. I am live on my YouTube channel. I am also, for the very first time, simulcasting on Instagram. So it's nice to see all of you here. If you are watching on Instagram or YouTube, consider coming over to my YouTube channel. That is Christiana Gaudet Tarot on YouTube. So, what are we doing here today? It is Thursday. That means that it's time for our Tarot Topics Weekly Newsletter recap. Do you get the Tarot Topics Weekly Newsletter? There is a link for you to get this week's edition, this week's issue. We all got issues this week, don't we? Yeah, we sure do. There's a link to get this week's issue right here in the description on YouTube. Our topic is interdependence. Interdependence. Right. Did I do it the week of Independence Day? Yeah, I did do that. Why? Because as John Donne said so many centuries ago, no one, well, actually, he said no man, but I like inclusive language, right? No man is an island. Think about all the people that you don't even know who do things that you're dependent on every day. The people who farm your food and bring it to the grocery store. The people who do all the technology to allow me to be talking to you right now. We are interdependent. Now, what I really want to talk about today, though, is our personal relationships. You know, that we are in relationship with so many different people. Yes, we can talk about romantic relationships. We can talk about work relationships. We can talk about family relationships. We can talk about our relationship with those in spirit. But there are all people around us. We all have people around us that we help, that we need to help, that we choose to help. We also sometimes need to ask for help from others. That's sometimes a very difficult thing, isn't it, when we have to ask for help? So those are the questions I'd really like to play with today. And I'm taking questions specifically on my YouTube channel, Christiana Gaudet Tarot on YouTube. So come on over there. If you happen to be watching on Instagram or Facebook, would love to see you on YouTube. But if you want to put a question in on Instagram, I'll try to get to you there as well. All right. So thank you to everyone here. A special thanks to the members on YouTube. I really appreciate all of you, and I love being your tarot fairy godmother. All right. So let's get to the questions. I'll take them in the order in which I see them. If you are indeed on Instagram and you want to ask a question, I'll try to get to it. But my priority really is those on YouTube. So come on over to my YouTube channel, Christiana Gaudet Tarot on YouTube. So nice to see all of you. Okay. Von Ray, nice to see you. Thanks for using a members only emoji, and thanks for being a member here. Okay, Pamela's Insight, you thought of a question. And I want to let you know I am using Lightseer's Tarot today. And if you want to see the cards that are coming up, you want to see Card Cam in action, you got to come over to the YouTube channel, because that's where you'll be able to see the cards as I'm looking at them. And if you are a reader yourself, you might find it quite enlightening to see what cards are coming up and what I'm saying about them. So do come on over if you can. All right. So all of the questions we're doing today are around the people with whom we are interdependent. How you help others, how you ask for help, whether you should help others. Sometimes the best way to help is stay out of it. Whatever questions you have around the many relationships, the interdependent relationships in your life. All right, so first question is Pamela's Insight. Where in my life can I allow more help and support of others? Where can I offer more support to others while remaining centered and balanced? Good question, Pamela. Love it. Okay, so in terms of allowing others to help you more, you know, the thing that really comes up for me actually is spiritual. The female ancestors, women from your family who have passed on, those you knew in life, those you didn't know in life, who are with you. Allow them to help you more. Call on them and ask for their help. The other thing I want to say is, like, I feel like you're sort of selective about who you let into your inner circle. That's really the way it shows up for me. And that's fine. I think sometimes it's really good to be selective in that way. But I think the people who are in your inner circle, don't be afraid to be vulnerable with them. And don't be afraid to ask for what you need, even if it's simple, even if it's just a conversation, even if it's pick up something at the grocery store for me. Don't be afraid to ask for that. Now, how can you offer more support to others? You know, the thing that strikes me, Pamela, is I feel like day to day in your life, you are doing more for others than you're letting others do for you. That's the way it shows up to me. Is that true? Do you think that's true? Let me know. But that's the way it's kind of showing up. And I mean, that's not bad. It's not bad. But I think, you know, where can you do more for others? Can you? Can you do more for others? I would say to really look at your skills, your psychic skills, your artistic skills, and look at how you can share that way in a way that benefits others and benefits you, maybe that. But I'd be careful when you say you want to kind of maintain your being centered and maintain your balance. Yeah, you really need to. And you do so much right now. I'm not sure you could do too much more in that way. All right, Martha Vink, nice to see you this morning. Von Ray, once again, thank you for being a member here. I feel like I have been self-sufficient and independent for so long. I don't know if I can be interdependent. What can I do to be more interdependent? And you know, that's such an interesting thing, Von Ray. And it's good to be independent. But do you know that, like, fierce independence is very often for people a holdover of trauma? And that's something we need to look at, you know, not just you, but any of us. If you are a fiercely independent person, you kind of have to look at, like, what is the trauma? Either, you know, there's low-key trauma and there's egregious trauma, right? But what is the trauma that has sort of created that for you? That's an interesting question, isn't it? So let's take a look. And let's take a look. You know, I think the first thing you need, Von Ray, to be more interdependent is you need to believe that there are people in, potentially, not in your life right now, but people who could potentially be in your life. Friends, romantic interests, creative collaborators, people who could be in your life that you would really enjoy and that you would want to spend time with and that would want to spend time with you. I think that's where you have to start. That's the baseline. Is right now, I feel like you do not necessarily believe that such people exist or could exist. I'm not sure they do exist right now, but could exist. So you have to believe that they could exist. And then you would have to be willing to be vulnerable to let them in. But I think the key is going to be people, because, like, you've got good acquaintances, you know, and you've got some friends. But I feel like creative collaborators would be such an interesting thing. People who believe things that you believe, people who want to work to do the things that you want to do. I think believing that those sorts of people could exist in your life and going and finding them, because sometimes it's that simple. You believe it can happen and then it just happens. Sometimes that's how it works. I think that is kind of what you need to do. I hope that makes sense. All right. The next question that I see is from Nalini Kalu. Nalini, thank you so much for being a member here. We really appreciate you. You're a new member, and that's great. And for those of you watching on Instagram, I really appreciate you as well. What I'm doing is simulcasting my live stream from YouTube, Christiana Gaudet Tarot on YouTube. If you want to be able to see the cards and interact, come on over to YouTube, please. Okay, Nalini, my question is, I've put tons of pressure on myself, feeling like my new relationship will fail because I'm not doing enough. It's hard for me to rely on others. How do I find balance? And there's so much to unpack there, Nalini, because first of all, this pressure, my new relationship will fail. I'm afraid of that. And I would like to invite you, first of all, to unpack that, first of all, because why do we even use that language that the relationship will fail? What if the relationship just doesn't work? What if it turns out that we're not compatible or we're not good for each other? Is that a failure? So I would first ask you to consider changing that language, changing the way you look at that, the way you talk about that. Because that is a lot of pressure. I don't want to fail is a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure to put on yourself. It's a lot of pressure to put on a relationship. And the idea, it's a new relationship. Sometimes new relationships work, sometimes they don't. And so making it be like this relationship has to work or I will fail and that will be bad. Let's get rid of that entirely, first of all. Now, the new relationship will fail because I'm not doing enough. To me, that sounds a lot like stuff that comes from the past, whether that's childhood, past relationships, but something that told you that just by your very nature, you are not enough. Now, it's great that you are not like a princess. We're like, you are all here to serve me. It's great you're not like that. But I think you need to know that you're enough and that your nature is going to be to do for others before you do for yourself. Now, is the person you're with asking for more, asking you to do more? I think there's some things that aren't quite in balance. I think we're still learning. As you said, it's a new relationship. And so you are still learning how to make this work. That's not the other person's fault. That's not your fault. That's just what happens in a new relationship when we learn how to communicate our needs and we learn each other's love languages. And so I think you have to stop with the I'm not enough, I'm not doing enough, and I'm afraid to fail. And I think you have to be really open with communication, looking at what do I need and how do I communicate that to you, and what do you need and how do you communicate that to me. And I think if you do that, there really is a chance that A, you're going to feel so much happier. B, you're going to learn a lot about relationships. And C, this relationship could indeed work. And folks on Instagram, if you want to see the cards I'm looking at, come on over, see Card Cam. We're on YouTube. Christiana Gaudet Tarot on YouTube. All right. Alice in Yoga Land. So this is such an interesting question. Nice to see you. Glad that you're here. Hang on one second. I just over-scrolled. Oh, and I have to say thank you so much to Julie Rogan for the super chat. Really appreciate that. Super chats and super stickers are a way that you can support this channel. So this is interesting because it's not, Alice, I'm going to ask you for a different question because I don't know enough background here. The question you asked, did Paul end his relationship with Donna? How does that affect you? It might affect you a great deal. It might be something that is interdependent with you that you really do need to know. It also might be something where it's not really about you. So go ahead. If that's really the question you want to ask, you've got to give me some background so I can understand why this isn't just gossip. Because tarot for gossip is not healthy. And sometimes, like, there are some readers who just won't talk about other people at all. I'm not that reader. But I need to understand how this affects you, what's interdependent with you. So let me know and we'll play with that. All right. And Leslie Jones, nice to see you. Teresa Chase, nice to see you. Thanks for being a member here. All right. So here we go. Leslie Jones, nice to see you. I have trouble asking people for things, not only for favors, but for payment in my business as well. Girl, you got to be able to ask for your money, my friend. How can I gain more confidence to charge what I think it's worth? Man, that's a question, right? Anyone who has a business knows that can be an issue for sure. I remember the first time I had to quote like what felt like a big dollar number to someone. And I took a deep breath and this is how much it costs. And they're like, oh, okay. And it was great, right? But it's hard. I understand. I'm telling you, like, man, you got to be able to do this, but we all have to work on it. You're not alone there. So how can I gain more confidence to charge? Well, first of all, let's look at that language. How can I gain more confidence to charge what I think it's worth? Oh, no, girl. Here it is. How can I gain more confidence to charge what it's worth? There's no thinking about it involved. That's what it's worth. So look at your language. That's the first thing I'm going to say. Now, let's see what we see here. All right. What shows up in the cards is that this is something that goes back to old messaging from your past, messaging from family of origin stuff about your worth. And it could be misogyny. It could be your worth as a woman. It could be within the family structure, your worth. But very young, I think that you took some messaging about how you yourself don't have that worth. And so this is not just about understanding that your offerings have worth. It's about understanding that you have worth. If you can consciously unpack that in your own mind, in the language you use, in the way you think and talk about it, you will be taking steps toward getting that confidence. Good luck. We've all been there. We've all had to go through that. All right, Julie Rogan, my friend, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member here. Thanks for the super chat. My work relationships are a little strained. Is it me or is it them? Great question. Right? That's like on Reddit. Am I the asshole? Right? I mean, it's a great question. Let's take a look. Sorry. Did that come out of my mouth? Well, see, it's a Reddit thing. There it is. Hey, Go Yogini, nice to see you. You know what I'm doing? I'm simulcasting my YouTube. If you want to ask a question, come on over to YouTube. I'm on YouTube Live right now, Christiana Gaudet Tarot. And so I'm just simulcasting on Instagram. All right. Hey, Bianca, nice to see you. Okay, so Julie Rogan. My work relationships are a little strained. Is it me or is it them? It's a combination of things. Maybe it's not any of the above. Maybe it's that the leadership is not doing a lot to foster a sense of teamwork. Maybe it's that everybody is stressed and everyone's looking for recognition because, again, I think it's a leadership problem. I really do. And so then the question becomes, what can you do about it? And I'm going to say, don't worry about anything that has transpired in the past. Recognize that everyone is struggling. Don't take things personally. Try to communicate and try to be really patient with people because it feels like everyone is under pressure and everyone is suffering. So that's what I have to say about that. So it's not you and it's not them. I think it's management. I swear to goodness. All right. Tara Babianca, thank you so much for those kind words. All right, Betty Flesher, thank you so much for being a member and thanks for using members-only emojis. And I want to remind the people on Instagram, if you want to actually see the cards that I'm looking at, come on over to my YouTube channel, Christiana Gaudet Tarot. Okay, Betty, I never ask for help from anyone. So where in my life should I ask for help? Great question. Great question. And the answer is day-to-day things that overwhelm you. You got a lot going on that overwhelms you, that takes away from your time and your ability to do the things you want to do. Whether it's friends, neighbors, family members, ask them, like, I know you can do the tasks, but if you could free up a little time, that would be good. So that's what I think. Claire C., it's so nice to see you. Thanks for being a member here. I have given unselfishly to many and have been conned. Ugh. How can I shield myself while still being generous? You know what it is, Claire? I'm not even looking at the cards for this just because I know you. And I will look at the cards, but I just got to say this because you're so sweet and you're so genuine. You assume that other people are the same way. You just assume that. And it ain't always so. I'm so sorry. Like, you cannot assume that everyone is like you in that way. That's hard. It's a hard lesson. All right. So let's look at the cards. How can you shield yourself while still being generous? Take time to discern and commit. Don't just feel bad for someone and commit. Take the time to think about it, to discern what you're going to do before you commit. Do a tarot reading. Ask your tarot fairy godmother. Seriously. All right. Okay, Pamela, thanks for that feedback. That all makes sense. I'm sorry for what you've gone through here. Hey, Lily, nice to see you. I have trouble being vulnerable sexually with others due to religious trauma. Oh, man, I get that. How can I open up more in this area? Honestly, it's a huge thing, and it starts with the heart. You might really benefit from some tantric exercises around breathing into the heart and opening the heart. And with partners, work on things like eye gazing and, sort of the non-sexual tantric things that help us make connection. Recognize that there is a whole bunch of sacred sexuality, spiritual stuff that honors sex, that is sex positive. And so you almost have to combat religion with spirituality here. Seriously. Okay, and good luck with that. That's a hard thing to unlearn. Martha Vink, my good friend. How can I be the most helpful to my friend in Nicaragua who's having a medical problem? Oh, I am so sorry for what you're dealing with there and what they're dealing with. Prayer, communication, and man, it's really that. Prayer and communication is probably the best you can do, and that's going to feel sad. That brings up a whole other issue about interdependence, is what happens when we want to help, but there's nothing we can do. And this isn't nothing. Prayer and communication is not nothing. Okay. Hey, Nesty, nice to see you. Okay. Oh, Nesty, thanks for being a member here. I'll be with you in a moment. I just overscrolled, but I'm glad that you're here. Let's see. The next question was Catherine Fan. I'm happy to see you. I've been independent and self-sufficient for so long, I feel like it hinders my desire and ability to attract and find love. I can't imagine I'll ever meet a life partner. Do you see it happening? And if so, when? And name, address, phone number. No, she didn't really ask those, but one could get that you might, right? So let's take a look. Do we think you will ever meet a life partner? Well, the thing is, like most people who are fiercely independent, there's trauma back there. And when you say you can't imagine that, it's not even that you can't imagine loving someone or you can't imagine someone loving you. I feel like it's more about you can't imagine how that interdependence would feel good. You can't imagine how that would be actually something you want. I mean, it is something you want, but then it's hard to see how it could turn into something you want. It's hard. So do I really see it happening? I feel like if you don't kind of take steps to welcome it, to look for it, to see it, to visualize it, it probably won't. So if you want it, I think it's very possible, but you need to be proactive and you need to recognize that every relationship looks different. And you could, theoretically, find a relationship that really suits your needs and suits your personality, and it could bring so much happiness to your life. So I would kind of be open to thinking about that and open to those ideas. Pamela, I'm working on a painting and I wanted to share it with you privately, but pulled back. Well, share, girl. That's the thing. That's exactly what we're talking about here. Okay, and Von Ray says, I know mine has to do with people not keeping their word and being burned by them. I hear that. And I can't promise you that'll never happen again. But it won't happen every time. That's the thing. Okay, Ness D, here it is. It's your turn. And thank you again for being a member. I feel trapped in my independence, trapped in my job. It's hard to give up my autonomy and rely on my partner due to my family trauma. How can I break this cycle? And yeah, I get that, man. That's hard. That's really, really hard. And, the question is your partner someone you can rely on? Is that a real thing in your life? That's the first question. And the answer is, I think it's possible, but I think there needs to be a lot of communication. The key here is communication, to really talk to each other, to initiate that communication, and really look at how can we help each other more? How can I help you? How can you help me? And look at that. It's all communication. Seriously. Hey, Jackie Masters, nice to see you. Thanks for being a member here. Baby Cakes, I love the language shift. I just overscrolled. So sorry. Here we go. There we go. I love the language shift. It is much harder to swallow a failed relationship than end one that doesn't work. Right? Hey, Minnie W., nice to see you. I have trouble being independent from the people around me because I'm always trying to make them substitute my family. How can I change that and find peace with myself? So that's an interesting thing, right? That's coming at it from a different perspective, and that sounds difficult too. And I think you're right. Peace within yourself is what you need. You need to find your own strength and find that you are a whole person and find comfort in your own company. You also need to heal from that family trauma. And so I feel like there's a lot of layers here, Minnie. There's a lot going on where you have to, on one hand, figure out what is the appropriate level of interdependence with the people around you. How do you heal from the family stuff? And maybe most importantly, how do you feel whole in yourself? And honestly, the way it's coming up for me, I think body stuff would be good for you. Working with the root chakra, doing yoga, dancing, things that put you in your body and help you realize, body, mind, and spirit, that you are enough. Okay, Alice in Yogaland, here we go. Thank you for explaining it. A third party who is interfering with your marriage by having an emotional relationship with your husband. So that's a really difficult thing. And I think the question is not so much about what they are doing and aren't doing, but the question is, what is this dynamic? And when we look at your husband, I feel like the problem is your husband does not feel like he's doing anything wrong. Your husband does not see an issue here. And I'm not here to say that he is or isn't doing something wrong. When we look at your perception of it as an emotional affair, whether it is or is not, and whether he sees it that way or not, it's how you're seeing it, it's how you're feeling it, and so it has to be addressed. And the thing is, this cannot be addressed as this other person meddling. It has to be addressed as what's going on between you and your husband, where you are not communicating, where you are not meeting each other's needs, where you are not, and maybe he specifically is not being sensitive to what you're feeling and what is hurting you. And so once again, the key is communication. And, for you, I think it's going to be a reframing where you have to come out of the place of anger and hurt and blame and come to the place of, okay, whatever's going on here, it's a you thing, it's a me thing, it's an us thing. Let's not talk about making people wrong and bad in this situation. Let's talk about what we can do to fix it. Let's talk about how I can tell you how I'm feeling in a way that you can hear it. Let's talk about why you're not hearing what I'm saying. You know, I think that's what it needs to come down to. That's where it needs to start. Okay, Karen Winkle, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member here. When am I too interdependent with someone else? That's an interesting question. Is that a thing for you, really? Is there any time that, I think there are times that you don't rely on yourself enough, in the sense that you don't believe in yourself enough. And so you may look to others to validate you. I think that could be a thing. But that's really what I see there. Okay, let's see what else we got. Okay, Jackie Masters, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member here. Okay, what stops me from asking for help when I need it, and how can I overcome this? Great question. That's a great question for all of us, really, right? So I think you don't like to show up as vulnerable. I think it's fear of vulnerability. I think you feel like you are over vulnerable on the planet, overly at risk on the planet, like you don't always feel safe. And so in not feeling safe in general, it makes you feel even more unsafe to ask for help. And so I think it's got to be about learning that you are safe and learning to feel safe. I think that's what it really comes down to at the end of the day. All right, let's see what we got going on here. And I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast on Instagram. All right, so here we are. Okay, Jeannie Mnuchin, thanks for being a member here. My theater group is wanting to do street theater towards political action. I love it. My impulse is that this isn't my direction right now. Will this develop, and should I go with it? Okay. Will it develop? You know, the thing is, it feels an awful lot like, it feels an awful lot like a lot of, oh, this would be fun, this would be fun, this would be fun. And but I don't know. I mean, I think it's people talking about ideas, which is great, but I don't know that it's anything happening. Should you participate? It feels kind of like a waste of time. I'm sorry. I love the idea, but you know what? I love the idea when we were 20. I don't love the idea so much now. Sorry, that sounded mean, and I didn't mean it to be mean, but there it is. Okay. Alice in Wonderland, I took your new questions and gave you the answer that I felt I could. Okay, Lydia, nice to see you. Lydia, I can't do it today. Lydia, happy to see you. I had a codependent bond with my last partner, and now I'm so afraid to repeat the same with my current boyfriend that sometimes I feel like it stops me from loving him fully. How can I change that? What a great question. I feel like you need to be guarded against codependence, not the relationship. You need to separate those two things. Those are two different things. That's the thing. You need to be able to separate those things out. Does that make sense? And then, and communicate with him, you know, like, what is codependent? What is not codependent? Figure that out. Figure out why you were codependent in that relationship. I think that's the thing. Okay, and Claire, thank you so much for the generous super sticker. Really appreciate it. Okay, Carrie Dunnick, nice to see you. Betty Flesher, thank you. You just described me 100%. I was feeling guilty sitting down to watch you, so now I won't. Yay! Very good. Carrie Dunnick, hi there. I've been independent for a long while now, but I'd like a good for me romantic relationship. Is it out there now, or do I need to be in relationship with myself for a while yet? Okay. I think you can be with you and be looking at the same time. I think that's fine. I think it will take some time to find, but there's no time like the present to start looking. So I think you can do both at the same time. Just look, but be patient. Be patient, but proactive. Okay. Hey, Michelle, nice to see you. Okay. Here we go. Sorry, I just overscrolled. Okay, here we go. Okay. 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 I think, Alice, what I'm saying is it's not really about this woman. It's about your husband and how your husband is handling it. Make it be about him and you, not about her. That's what I'm saying. Okay, Mixier, Michelle. I have trouble trusting others and letting go of my independence. How can I deliberately cultivate letting go and trusting others so I can actually meet my life partner? I date everyone, right? I love that. I love that. It just opens up so many possibilities, right? I often say, I don't know if this is too much, but I often say it's the person, not the plumbing. All right. Okay. How can I deliberately cultivate letting go and trusting others? Patience, 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 and awareness. Patience and bringing it to awareness. Patience and bringing it to awareness. And you know what? And I'm saying this not only to you, but to Von Ray and to a bunch of other people who brought up trust. People aren't always trustworthy. We have to trust ourselves to make good choices. We have to trust ourselves that we have the ability to recover if someone else turns out to be a douche nozzle. And we have to, once someone proves they're trustworthy, then we really do have to trust them. So it's all of those things all mixed together. And when we look at meeting that life partner for you, oh, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. I promise you it's coming sooner than you think. Okay, okay. Okay, Morgana the Great, nice to see you. How can me and my partner make our bond stronger in a healthy way? Well, I think for the two of you, you need to allow separate time with other people. I don't necessarily mean that in a polyamorous way, unless you wanted me to mean it that way. But I mean, like, you each have to be whole people, and then you have to celebrate each other's wholeness and celebrate what each other's doing, like that. Jeannie, you're so funny. Okay. Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for the feedback. I really appreciate all of you. So from my perspective, I've come to the end of our questions. If I accidentally missed you, or if you haven't asked a question, please do it. It's last call for readings, y'all. We got Global Tarot Circle tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. The link is already up, so make sure you join us. Would love to see you. Looking forward to that, and so grateful to all of you. Special thanks to the members and to those who helped out with super chats and super stickers. Global Tarot Circle is tonight. Yes, it is 7 p.m. The link is already up. Make sure you join us. And it is last call for readings, y'all. Caroline, so nice to see you. We're doing readings about interdependence and our relationships, one with another, how we help each other, how we be independent, how we be interdependent, how that all works, our relationship issues and problems. And it is last call for readings, y'all. Here we go. Teresa Chase, thanks for being a member here. Am I too independent to find a life partner? No, that's not a thing for you. You're not. Nope, you're fine. You're fine. All right. Mixier, thank you so much for the very generous and sweet super sticker. Really appreciate that. Thank you. So, my friends, 7 p.m. tonight, Eastern Time. The link is already up. Hit the reminder so you don't forget. Bring your tarot cards. We'll have some fun. If you don't have tarot cards, still come, because we'll still have some fun. Looking forward to seeing you then. Thank you all so much. Take good care.